Hello guys, welcome. I just wanted to talk with you today about the presidential debate coming up. It's only going to be, I think it's 5 days away now. Today's Thursday, September 5th. I believe it's Tuesday, September 10th. So I want to discuss a little bit just where the strategy lies and how both candidates, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, are preparing at this time. So let's get into it. Oops. Sorry, wrong flashcard. Right now, well, I watched on Good Morning America. They're claiming that the campaigns of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have both agreed to some certain rules. There was some debate whether or not the mics would be left on or off, or I should say would be muted when the candidate who's not answering a question is not permitted to at that time. Now, I originally, back in 2020, thought that this was incredibly unfair and undemocratic for them to do, way too controlling of the venue. I didn't care for that style, and I remember even at that time Donald Trump challenged Joe to a debate on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe was not in favor of that. Joe wanted a more structured debate, and his campaign and Joe also wanted a more structured debate in June, which I think almost everybody agrees at this point was a terrible mistake, because the biggest advantage Joe had in a debate was when Trump was interrupting him and talking over him and generally making an ass of himself. That was when Joe Biden did his best. But with the debate of 2024, along with the obvious cognitive decline that we've seen in Joe Biden since 2020, it's clear that the muted microphones was a big advantage for Trump and a huge disadvantage for Joe Biden. I think that's clear at this point. And so when Trump had his mic silenced, he appeared more measured, more controlled, and it put the spotlight on Joe, who oftentimes couldn't complete a sentence and meandered and weaved through his conversation and didn't even properly answer the sentence. He had senior moments that were on full display, while Trump didn't interrupt. Why interrupt your opponent when he is hanging himself with his words? So it worked very well for Trump in his most recent debate with Joe Biden, and it's looking like that's going to be the same way this time around. That the parties involved, both Trump, Kamala Harris, their campaigns, and the ABC anchors who are ABC is going to be promoting the presidential debate, and they've agreed, according to ABC, who is hosting it. So Good Morning America is on ABC. They're saying that they've agreed to have silenced mics whenever it's not the candidate's turn to speak. So if it's anything like the debate of earlier this summer, 2 months ago, that's going to be good for Donald Trump, because it keeps him from saying anything too crazy, making a fool of himself. And it's also important to acknowledge that the Harris campaign, Kamala Harris's campaign, was fighting for quite some time to keep the microphones not muted. That contrary to Joe Biden's strategy, Kamala Harris very much wants the microphones to be fully on with no restrictions. She is hoping that there is going to be a raucous, chaotic display by Donald Trump, and he's going to interrupt and dominate the conversation in a bad way. That's clearly what Kamala Harris and her team were hoping would happen, but according to ABC, the mics will be silenced when it's not each candidate's turn. there will be and I have disagreements with that approach, but it's good for Donald Trump because he seems to have he has problems controlling himself on the debate stage. He is good as a debater, but he also is very, he has an uncontrolled, bombastic personality that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. The debate will be 90 minutes long, and there was a coin toss, I guess, in which Trump or Kamala Harris would get the final word, the final statement. So each candidate will get a final statement at the end of the debate. There will be no opening statements, but Kamala Harris lost the coin toss, and Donald Trump will get the final word of the debate. So he'll get the closing statement, Donald Trump. So let's talk about the strategies of both candidates preparing for this. Is according to The Independent, Kamala Harris has been hunkering down with a circle of close advisors, and one of her advisors is a man by the name of Philippe Rines. He has actually been dressed as Donald Trump. So he's been wearing 3-inch shoe lifts and been wearing ill-fitting suits, and he has been known for doing this. He did this with Hillary Clinton as well. I don't know if he did this with Joe Biden, but he is known as kind of the stand-in debate prepper for the Democratic candidate, where he dresses as Donald Trump. This is very interesting to me, but he dresses as Donald Trump. This Philippe Rines, or Reens, he'll come in and dress as Donald Trump. He'll wear an ill-fitting suit and shoe lifts, and apparently sometimes he'll even wear a wig. He'll wear the blonde wig, I guess. So that's very amusing. I find it amusing. But so Harris has been working a lot more with advisors. So she's clearly feeling that she might be the underdog in this debate, and it's not unrealistic to say that she is, because it's important to realize that Donald Trump has been in this debate on September 10th will be Donald Trump's 7th. This will be Donald Trump's 7th general election debate. So, not including primaries. So this will be. So I guess he had 3 with Hillary Clinton. I guess he's had 3 now with Joe Biden, 2 in 2020, 1 in 2024. So this will be his 7th presidential debate with coming up on Tuesday. So that gives Trump, he's a debate veteran at this point. This is his 3rd election cycle. This is his 3rd election campaign where he, 2016, 2020, 2024. He's a veteran at debating. That's not to say he doesn't make mistakes. That's not to say that his nature of taking over the camera and his theatrical, bombastic nature is not going to come back to bite him. It very well could, which is why his campaign was fighting to keep the mics muted, while Kamala's team was fighting to keep the mics on at all times. So Kamala has been working with advisors quite a bit more and doing mock debates with her advisors. It's said that Kamala Harris's strategy is to goad Trump into a tirade of personal attacks and to get him moving off the issues, away from the issues, and she wants to avoid any kind of incident like the one with Tulsi Gabbard in 2019, which pretty much tanked Kamala Harris's 2020 presidential hopes. So now Trump's position is a little bit more, Trump's goals are a little bit more casual. So Trump has been told, he said to CNN very recently, in quote, I think my whole life I have been preparing for a debate, end quote. Trump has been getting some, I found out a few weeks ago that Trump has been regularly consulting with Tulsi Gabbard, the very congresswoman who went on a debate stage and pretty much single-handedly crushed Kamala Harris's presidential hopes in 2020. And so he's been working with Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is pretty much the best person Trump could be advising, although she has been apparently pretty humble about it, just saying that she is just that all she is saying is that all she did to win against Kamala was just highlight her policies, highlight her history as an attorney general, and that's all it takes. Just highlight her career history as an attorney general and a junior senator. So Tulsi Gabbard being on Trump's side, not good for Kamala Harris, that she's working with him. Other people who have been, other notable people besides close advisors who have been working with him, Trump is working and communicating with Republican Senator, I believe, Matt Gaetz, and Stephen Miller, who has, Matt Gaetz is I believe, a senator who has worked with Trump in 2020, I believe, as well. Stephen Miller has been an advisor of Trump. Maybe has had a cabinet position. I don't believe he did, but Stephen Miller is a controversial figure, believed to hold controversial views on immigration and perhaps even some white nationalist ideas. Hard to say exactly, but I know Stephen Miller is a controversial figure. Matt Gaetz is seen as kind of an anti-establishment Republican, perhaps a Trump Republican. But so Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, and Stephen Miller are all notable advisors to Donald Trump at this time, although it's important again to mention that Donald Trump is taking a more casual approach to this. Trump has opted out of having an actress play Harris. So while Kamala Harris is working with doing a mock debate with Philip Reines, who is pretending to be Donald Trump, dressing as Donald Trump. Trump has opted out of doing anything like that, working with someone who is dressed as Kamala Harris and is meant to present and act as Kamala Harris. It's said that Trump's goals are to focus on policy and Kamala's record. So Trump's focus is going to be on inflation, immigration, and making it clear that Kamala Harris is the incumbent for the race, which she clearly is. She is literally the vice president, the sitting vice president to Joe Biden at this very time. Trump's focus, which I believe is wise, is to focus on Joe Biden's inflation, economy, immigration, and also making sure that to tie Kamala Harris to these exact things. I would go further by saying that Trump should highlight that Kamala Harris was complicit in hiding Joe Biden's health and mental condition, which was put on full display in front of the entire country 2 months ago. So I think that's another important thing Trump should do. Don't stray away from, try to veer away from personal attacks and identity politics, whatever, all of that. Maybe mention that she was an identity hire, a DEI hire, that's fine. I get it because it's true. But stay away from personal attacks. I agree with that. And according to CNN, neither campaign, Trump or Kamala, has agreed to a second debate. So that's kind of my breakdown right now of the debate. Should be interesting, guys, and I will talk more about this with you after the debate in 5 days. We'll have another discussion in my next weekly section of videos. So we'll talk more about this soon, guys. Thank you.